Welcome to Fall Rise Give, a space where we invite you to dig into the real cause of your suffering, looking at opportunities for growth with a change in your beliefs, thoughts, and actions so you can be your true self and be inspired. Join us as we explore life's ups and downs and navigate the twists and turns, sharing stories of resilience, hope, and the transformative power of giving back. Whether you're looking for a change, in recovery, or simply seeking inspiration, this podcast is your go-to for candid conversations, raw emotions, and a whole lot of heart. Tune in and discover how to fall, rise, and give back on life's extraordinary journey.
Fall, Rise, Give, turn struggles into opportunities by being your true self and help others. I'm bartender Bob. That's Kumar. We have a special guest today named Gabe. We'll be talking to Gabe very shortly. So, Kumar, life is all about struggles, and it's all about just the different things in your life that happen, and the way that you're able to adjust and make things work is really what makes a person the person, I think, because in our case right now, recording, our regular recording studio didn't work, and we just kind of had to go on the fly and make it up as we're going along. And here I'm broadcasting outside. I'm sitting outside in Ferryville, Wisconsin, overlooking the Mississippi River.
Isn't that great? Technology is incredible, and technology makes it all possible. I've done it from my phone a few times. I think you'll do just fine.
Yeah, well, it's kind of cool because now I kind of feel how you do. Like when you're sitting out in your car doing the recording, I'm just kind of sitting out here, and if you can hear the traffic go by, I apologize for that. But hey, that's kind of what happens, and that's just kind of the way it's going. So how'd your week go?
Pretty smooth. I had a bunch of things go wrong from technology and projects perspective, and walked into a Zoom call this morning, and the team was really down and looked like they were all in doom and gloom kind of scenario. And I had to make them laugh and cheer them up. So I was kind of the motivational speaker to my team of about 8 people today, 8 to 10 people. So it was pretty cool. And then right away when I got done, they're like, "We love you, Kumar, for what you do for us." And so I got an immediate text message saying, "Thanks for motivating us, and love it when you do that."
Right. Getting that accolades is sometimes the motivation that we need. Not that we always look for it, but sometimes when somebody just says out of the clear blue, like, "Hey, I appreciate what you're doing," or "I appreciate that you did this," or "I see what you've done," and that seems to help out quite a bit. I mean, that goes to show a lot of our, not emotional support, but that goes to show it helps me a lot. I don't know how to explain it other than when somebody does something like that, it makes not only me feel good, but I'm sure it makes them feel good as well that they pointed out something that you did that was good.
Yeah, you feel validated, that you're doing the right thing. And that's kind of what it's all about to a certain degree. And so you just want to hear people out. And when you hear a certain thing and you want to validate what they're saying. And I think sometimes we look at external validation a little too much. We should really be happy with our own actions and reactions. But I'm one of those people that we used to look for external validation all the time. I'm in a situation right now where I don't get a lot of external validation from the higher ups, but I get it from my team, and I'm really happy about that. So I need enough of it to keep me going. I need appreciation. I need thanks. And I really enjoy that. So yeah, it made my day. And then I got an email that threw me off the kilter. And then I had to use my own skills to get myself back on. Okay, I need to go for a dog walk, and I need to get myself positive again. So it's been a roller coaster of a day, but yeah, it's all good.
Right. Well, at that point, that's when you pop on the old podcast, Fall, Rise, Give. Hey, we've had the opportunity to talk to a couple of your friends from the Attitude Adjustment Program, and I know that this week you brought in another one of your friends from the Attitude Adjustment Program. Could you introduce them to us?
Gabe has a very interesting story. Probably done lots of very interesting things that you wouldn't expect a person to do. And I actually talked to Gabe about a month ago to be on the show because Gabe sold their business and left Louisville, Kentucky, and bought a van and is living in a van and living
down by the river. Life. Please tell me it's down by the river. Please tell me
Uh,
it's down by the river. Gabe, is it
not
down by the river?
Hi, you guys. It sometimes it is down by the river, but it runs, so I'm able to take it wherever I want.
So tell me a little bit about your story, will you, Gabe?
Yeah, sure thing. Gosh, it's hard to know where to start, but I had like a pretty gnarly childhood, which led me to be like a severely codependent adult, and I struggled with drug addiction as early as 18. Um, it led me into a lot of really bad relationships. I think I was like seeking them out. Um, and then I did get married at 25 years old. I was married for a couple years and then I ended up getting kicked out of the house that we lived in and I became homeless. So that was the first time that I've never lived on the street, but I was living in a compact car. Um, and that was the first time that I've ever been in that situation. I thought it was going to be like kind of an adventure, in a way, like just being mobile like that. But it was not. It wasn't fun at all. I felt really confined and bored and lonely, and that's where my alcoholism started.
So it wasn't like summer camp at all. It wasn't going camping. It was, oh crap, this is my life now.
Yeah, like, the image that you get when you think of people who are doing van life, hashtag van life, it can be a pretty glamorous picture, but living in a car, completely different. You have no amenities, and like with a lot of other homeless people, you're just looking for something to pass the time and to take your mind off of how miserable it can be. And so that's where it started for me, just like drinking every single day. Um, but I knew that I was, destined for more than that. Like I'm well educated, and I don't know. I just knew that like there was something better on the horizon. I wasn't just gonna like be stuck there. So my story has a lot of different ups and downs.
Right? Did the boredom, did that cause you to delve deeper into the drug addiction?
Yeah, absolutely. I was living in Los Angeles, and so using cocaine was a really big thing there. Combining the two, and just, there's another up and down, just like every single day. Um, and that lasted for a couple years. But I was able to come to this pivotal point where I was like, look, I don't want this to be the rest of my life. There's got to be something more than this. I want to make something of myself. I wasn't homeless the whole 2 years, but I was off and on, and so I ended up going to truck driving school, and that completely turned my life around. Not only was it just like a job, but I bought my own truck and I was working for myself. And I did that for 7 years. But the first 2 years were really, really tough. Um, in a new career, driving an 80,000 pound vehicle down the interstate, working 70 hours a week, there were a lot of challenges. And my first really big um, failure was I got in this truck accident like right before COVID. And I thought I was never going to work in the trucking industry again, you know?
So it was kind of your rise, and then you fell again.
Yeah, and I was doing great. I mean, working for myself, like I was making more money than I ever thought possible from somebody who like wasn't doing anything with her college degree, and was working at restaurants, and suddenly I'm like doing like really, really well and I feel like I'm on top of the world. And then but I was using drugs and drinking the entire time. I wasn't really like making the most of that. And then COVID happened, and I honestly thought I was never going to, pick myself back up from that. But I'm a very determined person, and it wasn't it wasn't too long before I was, basically like with an accident on your record as a truck driver, like no one will hire you. And so I ended up going back home with my tail tucked between my legs. and I pretty much begged anybody to give me a job, and I ended up getting a really good one. They must have seen something in me, and so I worked for, yeah, I got right back on my feet pretty much. Worked for them for a year, and then I ended up buying another truck. And yeah, like I'm tenacious. I've never really, like when I fall and have those big failures, like I see that as a challenge. Like, sure, I'm gonna take a couple months to like really sit in that and think about, what I've done and like how I can recover from this. And and then yeah, that's basically where I started my own trucking company.
That's awesome. So, what would you say are your biggest struggles?
Believing in myself, honestly, like when it came time to start my own business, just the fear of taking that huge risk and not knowing if it was going to pan out. Like taking out a loan for $150,000 on equipment that I bought used and didn't know was going to run. It's just I really have taken a leap of faith multiple times in my life. And I feel like with the right attitude and a really good work ethic, like, these things can pan out. And I think it's taking that jump into the deep end that's really the important thing. Even if you do fail, like at least you tried something and gave it your all, and you're never going to know what that would have ended up like if you didn't.
So, it sounds like you've gained a lot of determination, persistence, and maybe a little bit of belief in yourself, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, oh man, at the beginning of opening a business, you're faking it till you make it, right? And then once you
Yeah.
start being profitable, like, holy cow, I can really do this. And I started taking things that used to terrify me. Like, I mean, I'm someone who has had really bad social anxiety. So talking on the phone to a broker or a new customer and selling my services and negotiating, rates for somebody who was like just working at a restaurant a few years ago, and now I'm like being a business person who is um like brokering, like I don't know, just all of this stuff that I said I would never be able to do. And it's so important to take those things like one almost like 1 hour at a time, and just tell yourself, like, I can do this. Like, like you guys mentioned Stuart Smalley. I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, and gosh darn it, people like me. Like, daily affirmations are
Yeah,
like
yeah,
literally so important, though.
yeah. So, there's a whole lot of self worth and self esteem that comes from overcoming obstacles and struggles, right?
Yeah.
And they're unique to you, and they start to give you a little definition of yourself. And so, do you feel like you became more of yourself and got the self confidence and the self esteem and self worth, all that together from your struggles?
I mean, yeah, a lot of what was preventing me from being authentic is expectations, the expectations that other people put on me. And so once I was able to overcome that and just say, hey, no, I'm going to be me now, my life got so much better. And most of that honestly came relatively recently. Like in sobriety, and I've been sober, it'll be like a year in 2 weeks. Um, Sobriety has given me this opportunity to really get to know myself, because you you can't, like, when you're getting drunk all the time, you're constantly fighting who you are because you're so stuck on being obsessed with who you think you should be. Um,
Yeah.
and at the same time that I got sober, I accepted that I'm a transgender person and started transitioning. And so that's been a huge part of, being true to myself.
Was one more difficult than the other to deal with? Because you said that you were discovered that you're a transgender. Was that difficult to deal with as a sober person?
Honestly, they went hand in hand. They say that once you get sober, it's like a rebirth, like you're becoming this brand new person. And it's the same thing for being transgender. So it only made sense that those things happened at the same time. And that's actually a common thread in the
Hmm.
community as well, the LGBT community. Um, you know, I felt like I just needed to start telling the truth about myself. And so I got started on, I was born female. I got started on testosterone. Um, and I'm sort of like out in a van just driving around, like meeting people from sobriety, figuring out what it's like to be sober, a sober person, and still have a really good time, and then learning myself as a transgender person as well. So, you know, coming up here where I'm at, getting to meet Kumar and other people that I've known only online for a year, but now I'm getting to meet these awesome people in person. It's just like such a huge part of my journey, and I really took a leap of faith. I was, I ended up selling the business. That's a whole nother story. I was working for somebody, and it was a really decent job. I'd been living in the same house for 3 years, big house. I was really doing well for myself. Um, Living in a town where I was like fairly well established, and I gave that all up to seek my truth. Like, just took a complete leap of faith, threw $8,000 on a minivan that's all built out with like a bed and a sink and everything, and kind of just started driving.
So, were you surprised by how supportive people have been, or have people not been as supportive as you thought they would be?
Um, I think people by now know me, especially if folks who, are my family or been my friends a long time, so they weren't surprised. So I've got their support. But some of the folks that I've known in sobriety just in the last year, I think probably are just, like a little shocked, like, oh, this is the kind of person you are. Like that's pretty wild. But yeah, the support's been great from everybody all around.
Is this the longest you've ever been sober, Gabe?
It's the longest that I've ever been sober in the program. Yeah, I was dry for over a year, a little over a year, but I was dry drunk. Like I was white knuckling it the whole time. Totally different this time.
Okay, because the attitude adjustment program is just giving you this emotional sobriety, this spiritual sobriety. Sounds like you've really gotten a lot out of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. It was finding a higher power and developing my spirituality um, with others, in a like a community aspect that has made all the difference. Um, I don't know, I felt so alone before, and now that I have this like fellowship and this idea of a higher power that's always here with me, um, I don't feel like I have to drink. Like I haven't felt alone in so long.
So, Gabe, have you always been a spiritual person?
No, I was an atheist for my entire life up until I found the program. I tried to find spirituality through different avenues. I have like religious trauma, and which I know is really difficult for some people who get into the attitude adjustment program. The idea of spirituality, higher power is like really difficult when they've had such a difficult time with like organized religion, especially in their childhood. And and that was the case with me. But when it's explained, like this higher power of yours is unique to you, custom tailored. It can be whatever works for you, whatever you want. That has been the integral part that has made me believe and have so much faith.
So, is the attitude adjustment program? Do you have to be religious to be a part of it?
No, you know, I know that some people are religious, and that's awesome that they already have that built in. All you really need is a belief in something higher than yourself.
Bob, it's not really a religious program at all. What it is, it believes that there is a higher power and that you have to surrender to that higher power, whatever that is, the universe, love, energy. And so a lot of people who've had religious trauma, as they call it, and have had bad experience with religion, at first may have a hard time when they join the program and there's talk of God and spirituality or energy. But once they
Right.
get to learn that, hey, it really is customized, as Gabe said, to yourself, it makes it a lot more accessible. It makes it a lot more personal. And I think even in some religions, they talk about a personal God or a personal relationship with God. So it really is all about that. That's why people find it a lot more palatable once they give it a chance. There's a lot of atheists and agnostics that end up joining the program, and they end up believing in this thing outside of themselves.
Yeah, the hardest thing about religion for me was the fact that it was like something my grandma was preaching, something my mom was preaching, and I didn't like, I was raised
Right.
Catholic, just like you guys, and it just didn't speak to me. Like all of the pomp and circumstance of Catholic Mass just didn't appeal to me, but it was pushed on me by people in my family. And as you know, like sometimes in some leaders and churches in Christianity are not on board with LGBT people, so that pushed me even farther away. But what they teach in the attitude adjustment program is just completely different than religion. It's something, it has some similarities, right? But I find it to be completely different.
Have you been able to open up and be, I don't know, the word friend isn't the right word, but have you been able to build a relationship with the people in your family from before that, like your grandma, you mentioned the raised Catholic and your parents and stuff like that. Have you been able to, kind of double back now that you're really, you're Gabe now?
Yeah, well, so I have people in my family who don't accept me, and those people just don't talk to me, thankfully. So I don't have to hear from them. That's their choice. But this has brought me even closer with the people that I was already close with before, especially my mother, who is a very devout woman. And now she and I can talk about higher power stuff because now there's overlap, and we can talk about the stuff that we both believe in and leave out the rest, which is really beautiful because I was so resistant before.
I know that Kumar asked you if this is the longest you've been sober. Now, has the opened up relationship with your mom and just being true to who you are, has that kind of helped you with your journey?
Um, yeah, absolutely. I don't seek validation from my mom anymore like I used to when I was a lot younger, but it definitely is wonderful to know that she's on my side and that she prays for me, and I think I've opened up her mind a little bit to like meditation and other things like that. The fact that someone that has known me from birth and gave me my given name was so accepting about me choosing a new one. Um, yeah, my mom's an incredible person, and I'm like so grateful to have her on my side.
That's awesome.
I have one question that I wanted to ask still. And that question is, you took a big leap of faith and took a lot of courage for you to be able to do that. We talked about determination and persistence and you being your true self. I don't want to say for the first time, but probably in a long time, right?
Yeah, that's true. Was there a follow-up question or?
Yeah, yeah. I was going to say, basically, you've got an amazing sense of being and being true to yourself. How do you want to be known? How do you want the audience to say, man, that Gabe has got a great story? And how would you like to be known, or how would you like to our audience to be able to say, what's your message to them?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I feel like seeking your truth, and there's unlimited power and possibilities in that. And there's going to be people in your life, even people that you're the closest to, who are going to try and stop you from living your dreams. I mean, that's just the long and short of it. There's a lot of restructuring that needs to happen if you really want to go chasing your truth, because a lot of people aren't just born into circumstances that they're made for, period. You have to have faith that taking risks to seek your authenticity is going to work out, and you have to believe in yourself every step of the way. Progress, not perfection, right? Like, I am definitely truer to myself now than I have ever been. I'm a work in progress, just like everybody else. I still get nervous and, water myself down in front of certain people or, in large crowds. Crowds are still difficult for me. Just try to be the realest me I can be.
What do you think of service, and how are you giving back to whatever cause, whatever situation? How are you helping others?
Recently, I started working for you, Kumar. I think that doing this podcast and helping out with this is going to help and inspire a lot of people. So I'm so happy to be part of this project. In addition to that, I just try to talk to other people who are trying to get sober. I've had friends and family reach out to me who need help and just trying to direct them to resources, say, hey, come to a meeting with me and really show that I care and that I'm here for them. In addition to that, I do service work at my home group meeting with the Attitude Adjustment Program. I answer emails, I host meetings, things like that. I just try to give back in any way I can. I owe this program my life, honestly. Um, it has helped me become somebody I never imagined and have a life that is so fulfilled. And so it's really the least I can do to make sure that other people coming in or other people who are struggling can have the same experience that I had, hopefully.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Fall Rise Give, where we explore stories of resilience, growth, and giving back. If you enjoyed today's episode, please visit our website at www.fallrisegive.com. Also, consider subscribing to our podcast on your favorite platform and leaving us a review. Your feedback helps us to continue to bring you inspiring stories. Stay tuned for our next episode, and remember, every fall is a chance to rise, and every rise is an opportunity to give. Until next time, keep falling, rising, and giving. This is Fall Rise Give, produced by podcastforhire.com. Thank you for listening.